talk about the fact that we're now 41 years today on the Roe v. Wade decision. And I want to discuss that historical decision and break it down. In fact, guys, I forgot to tell you this. Will you print me the Roe v. Wade decision? Just type the Roe v. Wade 1973 decision. And then give me the Wikipedia on it as well. I mean, not that that's always accurate, but if you look at the bibliograph, you know, the listing of facts at the bottom, that's where the real intel's at. But I want to refresh that and actually read over some of that in the next segment so we know what happened 41 years ago in the year before I was born. And it was, man, I tell you, the cause celeb when it happened, women were out there wearing shirts saying, I got an abortion. You got Gloria Steinem talking about how sexy it is to this day. I mean, this is how you really show your man you're the boss, is you deep six that baby. Of course, really all it does is allow promiscuity, fake relationships, and using homicide of children as birth control. And it is a dehumanization. And what you do to the least of me, you've done to me, Christ said. And notice now they're getting rid of old people with the death panels, and it's happening in Europe and now here. And they're now saying kill babies up to age 3. Will you guys give me the Journal of Pediatrics? Called for killing babies up to age 3. Print that, too. I should have done preparation for this. I mean, I did do preparation thinking about it yesterday and today, and then I saw drudgereport.com with the headline, 55 million abortions since Roe, and it reminded me, oh, I wanted to do a show on abortion, or at least spend an hour or two on it, on the anniversary. And so we're going to discuss that and, you know, bring up these topics and these points. But you can't deny human life's cheaper than ever. And statistically, people aren't rendering aid like they used to. America and Europe were always known for rendering aid, unlike Eastern culture that statistically does not render aid. That's just a fact as much. And Western virtue is evaporating very, very quickly. But I still run into doctors and lawyers and accountants and police and military, especially military, and farmers and ranchers and rodeo people and just so many people I know and like who are all about, they're not good because they're hypocrite Pharisees on a high horse telling you how good they are. They're good because they're good. And they like being good. And they feel good being good. And they want to do what's honorable. And it's almost scary how much I like being honorable now. Because I'm 40 years old next month. And I've always been an honorable person. But, man, now it is just dominates me. And even when I know something's good I'm doing, I try to figure out how to do it even better and how to be even more honest. And even when something's sensational, I'll tend to dial it back like my reporters do because I don't want to go all the way. And then I realize the enemy does that on purpose. They're always saying good people with a conscience are bad and lying about us so that they know how we work, so that we will look at ourselves and overanalyze. Look, we're in a war. We know we're trying to be good. We know we're trying to do the right thing. We're not going to ever get all this perfectly right. We're going to make mistakes. Attack, folks. Quit worrying about, you know, we've got our conscience right. We got our head screwed on right. God's our, you know, a pole star. And you got to know, is it God touching your heart about something you're doing? Or is it the world? Is it the accuser? Is it the Pharisees? Is it the fake government-run churches and Christians that are there with the fake tough love, fake moral authority that is permeating this country to dominate and control and do mean things and have a hard heart in the name of Christianity? I see that a lot. And I see the fake left the same way. They've got the moral high ground. They're going to tell you what to do. They're going to tell you how to run your life. They're going to tell you that car's bad, pay them taxes. They're going to, even if the car is bad in ways, it isn't about the car being bad or being wasteful or having bad emissions. It's about them taxing you and running your life. So stop letting all this scum tell you you're bad. You understand that? You know, you've got it right in your heart. You've got a relationship with God. The state isn't God. We don't need the priest class.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
Well, the media today is saying that this is the 41st anniversary of Roe v. Wade. But technically, it was decided January 22nd, 1973. So that would be tomorrow, because on this Tuesday edition, it's the 21st day of January 2000. 14. But it was argued December 13th, 1971. It was examined October 11th, 1972. They made one-day look at this, and it was decided January 22nd, 1973. And that's directly from the Supreme Court. I have the ruling here in front of me. But regardless, we're talking about them looking at the evidence for one day, October 11th, 1972. They passed judgment, and they decided January 22nd, 1973. And, of course, they didn't really decide anything. They were told by the political class, the Rockefeller Foundation that helped push this since the turn of the century, the last century, century before the 21st century. Simply amazing. And I want to open the phones up for your stories of abortion one way or the other. What is it like for folks that have had abortions and thought it wasn't a human and believed the lies and then later had children? Those are the people that really get shook up, that really get upset by what they've done and what they've been part of. And I want to tell you something. If you've had an abortion because you were told it was a blob and wasn't real, and maybe you did it in the first trimester, which I do think is probably obviously a lot less bad overall than when it's second or third. I mean, holy Toledo, when you see those high-def scans, the baby sucking their thumbs, playing, spinning around when they're in the third trimester. It's having dreams. It is unbelievable to know what goes on. And then you find out the type of people that are into it and how they make all this money, and the way they kill the babies, putting them in water or throwing them in the toilet. A lot of times they're unable to kill them before they get them out. And people say, oh, let's not talk about this. Well, it's going on. And they want to ban people having signs up of dead babies on billboards. And they want to ban high-def ultrasounds and letting people look at their babies for non-medical reasons because they don't want you to know. And here's the good news. You can pull these polls up. There's a lot of polls out there, but you can search and just the polls show abortion less popular than before. And the numbers are around Roe v. Wade, around 60%, depending on the poll, were pro-abortion, believe the lies. They made it a big cause celeb, the new civil rights movement. Women got more freedom, blacks got more freedom. Now kill babies, more freedom, and people kind of bought into it. The last time I saw numbers, there's a bunch of polls out there. Young people, it's as high as 80+% hate abortion, know it's a fraud. That's under 30s. And then even with older folks, it's now 60 to 70% or higher are against it. And Gallup shows similar numbers, not quite as strong. But the point is that the numbers are reversing. In 2013, clinics are closing all over. Abortion drops, and industry is now retrenching itself. The press reports, the National Right to Life Institute reports. So we're gaining ground. The problem is they're institutionalizing it, making you pay for it with tax money. Travis County takes money out of everyone's paycheck and has all these new hospital district taxes, you name it, to make you pay for abortions. They promote it in schools. So their answer to us resisting them is to double down. But the good news is we're winning the hearts and minds. But Roe v. Wade, and, even the woman that was part of Roe v. Wade, you never see her on TV anymore, very rarely. She's been traveling the country for 2 decades saying that it's horrible, it's wrong, it's a fraud, she was wrong. What I don't like is Gloria Steinem and others wearing shirts saying, I got an abortion. They're back doing that and saying it's sexy, saying it's the ultimate feminist action. I've read these quotes. And it really upsets you. It's one thing if you say, look, I got raped or I did it in the first trimester or I'm poor or yada, yada, yada. They don't tell you that there are more people wanting to adopt kids every year in this country than there are abortions. They always say, well, nobody wants these black babies. Nobody wants these minority babies. I mean, I've been told that many times myself, face-to-face, by pro-abortion people on air and off air. You've all heard it. The truth is, everywhere I go, I mainly see white people taking care of mentally disabled Hispanic and black children because they're racist crackers. And that's why they have those special needs kids that are an absolute nightmare to deal with in many cases because their love is so great, they feel called upon to do it because whites are evil, folks, inherently. Okay? course, I'm being sarcastic. House committee passes bill to completely ban taxpayer-funded abortions. That's lifenews.com. But if you go to Infowars.com or DrudgeReport.com, we have links to the 55 million abortions since Roe. And you think about that. You know, I kept saying 51 million in the last 4 or 5 years because I hadn't checked the latest numbers. It's 55 million dead babies. And then now, what do you expect to come out of this? Remember this article from a year and a half ago, and people didn't believe it, February 28th, 2012? Bioethicists argue killing newborn babies should be allowed up to age 3, and that was in the Journal of Medical Ethics, prestigious journal. And when this first came out, people couldn't believe it. This already goes on in Europe. And then they pulled the journal, and then people said we were lying, but then the journal said, no, we admit it was published, but we've withdrawn it. And then the London Telegraph picked it up, Fox News picked it up. You know, Drudge Report carried our article. Drudge went, and, you know, I'm just keep giving praise where it's due, and clicked on the journal and saw it was real and forced the media to cover it. But for a week, they said I was a liar and it wasn't real. Just like everything else. They're not buying bullets by the billions. They're not training with paper targets of women and children. There's no plan to confiscate guns. The Army's not training to take on the Tea Party, even though now they admit all that's true. There's no drones in American skies. They're not using them on farmers. Alex Jones is a liar. Now I'll admit it. When we put that report out, they came out and said, there's no way. Dr. Peter Singer at Princeton, who is an icon of PETA, they're really a transhumanist eugenicist group, has said forever a baby is no more value than a mackerel. A mentally retarded person has no more value, I think he said, than a roach or something. You have to pull up the exact quote. Pull up Dr. Peter Singer, children are like mackerel, and then disabled children are like, it's really sick. Old people are, you know, just get rid of them. And it's like, oh, you're so liberal. Oh, it's so trendy. Oh, you have such a heart. Oh, you're so good because you're funded by the Rockefellers and anti-human eugenicists who want to make us totally cold and say we're all animals and have no spirit, no soul, no free will. And so, you know, divorce is okay even if it makes your kids, tears their guts out and makes them feel like they're dying. Because, you know, that's just a biological feeling. So you go with your feeling to leave your wife or leave your husband and do what you want because you want to go out and party and you want to be able to do whatever you want and you want to be able to use the wife or the husband as a babysitter when you go out party, you know, on and on and on and on. This worldly, sick system, and the churches endorse it, all of it. Dr. Death and the Religion of Genocide, disciple of Pianka, goes further, wants 100% of humans dead. Yeah, that's one of our articles on NBC News. We need to find the Dr. Eric Pianka. You know, those are good quotes, but I want Dr. Peter Singer quotes. There it is, Peter Singer. Since neither a newborn infant is nor fish, here's the quote. They just blew it up for me so I could read it. There's a clear crossover between the madcap words of ecology and bioethicist, Princeton University's Peter Singer, probably the world's most well-known bioethicist, advocates the right of parents to be able to kill their own newborn babies. Well, actually, up to age 3. This journal just repeated what he says. Singer compares babies to mackerel, writing, since neither a newborn infant nor a fish is a person, the wrongness of killing such things is not as great as the wrongness of killing a person. And see, that's the globalist sick lawyer argument. They dumb you down. They program you with the screen time, the kids. They wire the brains where they're receptive biological androids, in his own words. And then as an adult, you're not a human either. And that's their weird Illuminati, twisted Masonic worldview, that if you're not conscious of what's going on and you're not aware of all this, and I've been told this by globalists that have tried to co-opt me, I mean, you wouldn't believe the contacts I get. I mean, I haven't said this yet, but I've been invited as the keynote winner speaker, and I've accepted at Oxford. I have to pick the date in March now, but they recommended it be a Saturday night. And they're going to have the faculty and people there. I mean, it's not just speaking at Oxford. It's speaking, the keynote, addressing Oxford. And that's something I can say on record, folks. I have been lately contacted a bunch by people at the highest levels. And obviously, if I don't go meet with them, they will take it as a disrespect, and something might happen to me. I mean, that's how bad this stuff is at the level I'm at, ladies and gentlemen. I decided to meet with you because I know you're a serious man. And out of respect, I'm here. But this drug business, I believe it's going to be the end of us. And we control the church and the courts because gambling and women is a vice people want. To paraphrase Don Corleone. But this drug business, but I mean separately, I'm never going to join with the New World Order. I will certainly meet with them, though. It's always interesting. I met with a real member of the Illuminati about 3 years ago, and it's just unbelievable. And the only reason I'm given this information is I won't tell anybody. That's the only reason. But that's what they always tell you. They go, look, these people aren't human. They don't want to be free. They're not illuminated. You're illuminated because you know all this. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. The power, the life extension, the control, everything. It will be yours. And I know their spirit. I feel it. I could join with them, but I'm going to just tell you now, I'm not joining you. Understand that. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other members of the fluorine family that are added to Western water supplies are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the people that drink it. So the question is, why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We developed Fluoride Shield to be the highest quality, highest standards because I use it every day and my family uses it every single day. Let's take a closer look at the ingredients that make up this special proprietary formula. Tamarind has been celebrated for its ability to immobilize toxic fluoride residues, while zeolites have a long history of attracting and holding toxic compounds. Enter fulvic acid, an excellent cleansing agent. Then we added the highest quality shilajit, a rare compound that is collected from the high mountains of the Himalayas. We topped it all off with the powerhouse herb cilantro that is intended to mobilize fluoride and other dangerous compounds for removal from the body. And the final touch to energize this formula is our proprietary nascent iodine. And as always, consult your physician as well because that is important. And finally, Fluoride Shield, Survival Shield, and all the products at InfoWarsLife.com grew out of my quest to try to find the very best compounds from God's cornucopia to protect myself and my family. And from our research, I believe we are bringing you the best, highest quality products. And you have that commitment from Alex Jones and the entire InfoWars crew.
So now that we've dehumanized for 41 years, 55 million babies and helped fund basically forced abortions worldwide with IMF and World Bank money, well, now that we see the economics of one of predatory actions and dumbing people down and reducing society and not creating economies that actually have sustainable real jobs, but destroying sustainable economies by calling it sustainable, our journey towards total implosion is going right along. And then meanwhile, humans aren't even needed now unless we decide we're needed and decide we want to build a world for humans. Kind of like you build a dog park for dogs, or you build a human park. You build a habitat for lions. You build a habitat for hippopotamus. We're having a habitat built for a technocracy that we're not in. And this is in the globalist own words. France and China, of all places, are leading the revolution to robotics to replace 99% of their workers. They're only a few years away from their prototype factories working without humans. Almost completely without humans. Again, by design, not some natural progression. All the tech with back doors built into it. So that they can dehumanize, track, control, and war game their incremental takeover to predict the future and predict everything we're going to do and to gauge how we're going to respond and have super quantum computers going after us. We have to make the decision we don't want to go down that route. We want quantum computers to build truly sustainable space-based ring cities in space and then blast off 300-year missions with 3-4 generations that are going to live in a high science-based system, mining the asteroid belt and then blasting off to the nearest star systems. Man, boom. I would raise my kids for that mission, have them ready if they wanted to do it, to be part of that. We should have ring cities built right now, should have already launched 50 of them. I mean, I could go on and on the potential of what they've suppressed, the adventure of colonization of space, of colonization of the undersea. We've got the resources, we've got it all. Instead, we put the resources into controlling and dumbing people down. So when you say it's my right, it's my abortion, I've had a bunch of abortions, and you wear a shirt and don't, you know, you dumb man, don't tell me. I'm talking about humans going to the next level. I'm talking about valuing humans. I'm talking about if you don't decide to bet on humanity and be a fan of humanity, again, The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino, great movie. Keanu Reeves tells me it's one of his favorite movies. By the way, Keanu Reeves doesn't do interviews. I've known him well over the years, talked to him a lot. I haven't talked to him in a few years. I need to contact him again. He's a big fan of the show, the films. In private, he'll totally smart, knows everything, totally cool. He just won't talk to any media because he knows they're all idiots. But that's all a side issue. In Devil's Advocate, the devil says, I'm a fan of man. I want to empower you. And that is pure bull. The spirit of the devil, whether you believe it's real or not, the idea, the archetype of Satan wants to kill, steal, and destroy and suppress you. It's God and God's creation and the life force that's regenerative and good. Beautiful sunshine, the stars, a child laughing, a babbling brook, hummingbirds outside your window at a morning glory drinking nectar, the smell of ozone in the air on a spring morning, catching that big shark that comes up to the boat, hanging out with your buddies who you know are good friends and having the camaraderie of people you know you can trust, that kinship. You know, the love of a woman in your arms and that passion and that intensity and that goodness. All of that is the shared experience of humanity. To hear music for the first time that's so beautiful, or to hear your child play music that they are doing on a keyboard that's impromptu, that's some of the best stuff you ever heard, and you know, to know that they have the genetics of top concert pianist and violinist, and just to hear it coming out of them. And it's just so wonderful, and to want goodness for people instead of going, they're all weak and don't know the power we've got, and we're going to control them and take them over because they tear you apart if you tried to help them. The only way for you to achieve your true destiny is to realize that and break away from these people. The dark side only wants to recruit those of us that are good because they know as their evil comes in, we will, as a law of nature, for every opposite, for every action, you will have an equal and opposite reaction. They know that those of us that don't sell out spiritually, that don't join with the hot flame of evil, that is very alluring because you're not tired. You don't feel weak anymore. You don't feel bad for people anymore. You don't have a conscience anymore. You can just feel the evil power and just join with it. But then you realize that it dams you off from all the great understanding and all of the love and all the compassion and all of the true art, that you give up the deepness of your soul for the temporal power to be able to dominate on this planet. You only have an intellect for things evil. Only an intellect to dominate, only an intellect to commandeer good things and twist them. They're blind. They have no idea that the whole universe is before us. We're at a literal historical jump gate to things the eye has not seen, ear has not heard, things we've not dreamed of. But we've got to make this decision properly.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.